Hello. So another week. So yeah, last week's vlog got to like 50 minutes. So my target this week is to mumble less, be a bit more concise. So with that in mind, so week commencing Monday 22nd of February. Fuel card prices. The UK fuels, which is the Shell card for UK fuels, it's up to 103.17 plus the VAT now. And the BWOC or block card, that is coming in just under £1, so it's 99.55. So fuel prices are still going up, which isn't ideal, obviously. Still way off where they were pre-pandemic, having looked at the RAC fuel tracker graph on their webpage. Easy enough, if you just go on RAC fuel prices, Google it, it'll come up with a graph. Yeah, so I managed to get a job booked in this morning. I booked it in yesterday on a Sunday, pinged up late afternoon, and it turned out it was a shipper and a collection point I've done before, probably the fourth or fifth time I've been there. Yeah, so got that one, and then when the job notes came through, it was a bit of a strange one. It says 3 stackable pallets that were 3.2 meters by 1 meter. And I thought, right, okay, fair enough. They're going to need some long forks to get that in the back, but yeah, that's exactly what they had. I turned up this morning, 9:15, or therefore 9:15. Didn't get away until 9:45, so they took the full half-hour loading, so I had to wait a little bit. And the bottom one was 3.2 by 1 meter, and luckily the stuff on it was high enough because the 2 next pallets were wider again. It was just like plastic sort of signage. It's like a Printworks signage place. So the second pallet and the third pallet were kind of like wider than the bottom one, but because they stacked it like that, it cleared a wheel arch. So yeah, put some ratchet straps around, doesn't weigh particularly much, didn't do overly tight because it's just delicate plastic. Yeah, that was delivering down to Swindon, which is where I am now, to a southern distribution hub for a large like homewares store, which we all know. I won't say, but just think you can do it if you. Yeah, so that one, big depot next to the Honda factory in Swindon. And this end didn't go great. When I saw it in the notes, it was one of these huge distribution centres. There's always a chance they're going to keep you waiting. So I went to the, didn't actually say on the job notes on the CX, but I was actually booked in for a time slot at 11. So I think it's 11 till 12. And I got here 20 past 11 to security. And they said, yeah, right, all great, mate. Yeah, just sit. We'll come and tell you when we're ready for you. So I sat there for probably about 40 minutes, rang the shipper to say, just tell him what was happening really, and it's probably going to be waiting time. And he says, well, yeah, there's not a great deal he can do, just keep us informed. So I eventually got in after 40 minutes. They put me on like, wasn't like a loading bay, it was just like a loading door. You know, this place has got dozens and dozens of bays and doors. But the problem was this end, they only had standard forklifts, so they couldn't get it out. And then the guy contacted somebody else to hopefully bring a forklift with longer forks, because I had fork extensions on how to pick up. But even when this bigger forklift turned up, they weren't much longer. They were probably like 6 inches longer, the forks on it. So what they had to do in the end was, with one of the forklifts underneath, lift it and drag it. But even with tilting the mast back, it wasn't lifting the front of the pallet up, and it was just going to tear through the pallet and damage the plastic sheets on it, like signage. So we just had to move back until it was just about resting on the floor of the van still, and then come. So he'd taken the weight that way, and then somebody come in the side way and take the weight. So it was lifted up off the floor of the van, and I moved the van forward. They both lowered it down, and then they managed to get in the side end and just take it off from there. So basically this job needed a curtain side luting ideally, and the guy was alright about it, but yeah, he said he's going to contact the customer, the sender, and say, yeah, if you're sending this stuff again, we're just going to refuse it unless it's on a side loading curtain or something. so that was that job. So I was there an hour and 20 minutes, which is 80 minutes, obviously. So 30 minutes is including, so an extra 50 minutes, and I charge 15 for every 15, £55 for every extra 15 minutes, or thereof, but I just said 15 quid. So got an extra 15 quid on a job, which bumped it up just over £1 a mile with getting to a pickup, but that's only 4 miles from home. Yeah, so that's it. 5 minutes already. Yeah, it's pretty quiet around here. I'm just going to hang around Swindon, try and get a job. If I can't by 5 o'clock, I'll probably think about moving on quite far to Bristol, but I might have to do some dead miles over that way, more chance of getting a job for the morning. Or I could head sort of northeast towards Cirencester and then be closer to sort of Gloucester and stuff. But for now, I'm just going to sit, hang tight, listen to the radio, see what Boris is going to announce about coming out of his lockdown. That's the big news this week and today. So yeah, that's Monday so far. Right, Tuesday morning now, just a quick one. So yeah, last time I sat in Swindon, wasn't there that long, went and got myself a sandwich. Sat around maybe an hour and a half, bid on a few jobs, no luck. But then one job pinged up from Swindon to Oakham in Leicestershire, where I am now. And it was the shipper I did the job for in the morning, so it was a bit like last Monday. Last Monday I ended up doing 2 jobs for the same shipper. The same thing happened yesterday, but with a different shipper, so I did 2 jobs. So I put on a quote still in the Swindon, because that's what his first job took me. He rang me up and gave me the job. It was a medium wheelbase job. It was down as a ton. It's on a very small pallet, but it was a really chunky steel. Apparently it was a valve. Went from some engineering company over to like a plastics moulding company up here, I think, that make tubs and buckets and stuff. So yeah, nice gentle drive up here, mostly A roads. Got that tipped last night, like 6:30 I think it was. Had some chips, camped in a industrial estate. It got down to like -2 last night, so I had the heater on, decent night's sleep. And this morning I've managed to get a job straight away, because Oakham, a bit out of the way here. I have looked on Who's Around Me on the app, the CX app, and there was like nobody else around here. Whereas if I went into Leicester, which is quite a drive from here, it's just full of drivers, so I thought I'm better off staying here. And I managed to snag my first job, and it's a wait and return. It's a small van job, just over 100 miles. And I quoted 75 quid, I think I went in and got it. Or was it 78, I think I went. By looks of it, bakery to bakery. But yeah, I need to crack on with that job. So that's update so far, Tuesday morning. Right, Tuesday evening now. So yeah, I did that bakery job, picked up 8 tubs of raspberry jam, seedless. Was it seeded? I don't know. Took it from the pickup to the bakery in Coventry, and then in Coventry they gave me 2 buckets of honey, and I took that back to the original pickup, and that was that job. So yeah, ended up exactly where I started really, and where I kipped last night in the back of the van. So yeah, because where I tramped last night was literally like 100 yards from this pickup. This pickup in the morning. Yeah, and then I wasn't there that long really. I was thinking, again, I was in Oakham. I thought I'd sit around here. There's a fair bit of industry around that area. It's quite a nice part of the world really. Rutland, I think it's kind of like in between the M1 and the A1 or A1M, wherever it is. It's quite rolling hills, quite a nice countryside really. Yeah, sort of not far from Melton Mowbray and Pork Pie country. That was like 10 miles away. I drove through Melton Mowbray on the way to Coventry. I wasn't there long, and then a job pinged up, long wheelbase job from Leicester. I think it was LE3 or something. It was just off the M1, the pickup, down to North London, N17. It was 102 miles. So I thought, and it was a ton, 3 pallets for 1,000 kilograms. So I thought £1 a mile. And I thought, well, maybe knock a bit off so it doesn't, it looks a bit cheaper. but not a lot off. So I went in at 97 for 102 miles loaded. The downside was I was 25 miles from it, so once I factor that in, obviously it's not great, but at least it's work. Not easy to get a job at the moment, so yeah. And it was one of these jobs, it wasn't picking up till 1, and it was about 11:45, and it was like 45-minute drive. So what I've started doing now is when it's an ETA like that, it isn't like within the next hour, which most of them are. It's a set time, and it's in the future. I'll put whatever that time, ETA, whatever that time is. So ETA 1300, and prompt after it. Because I find if you put, even if you're 10 minutes around the corner and you put ETA 10 minutes, they can look at it and think, well, he thinks it's just ready to go. At least if I put it that way, they know you kind of what the crack is with the pickup and stuff. So yeah, went and got that. That was packaging, 3 pallets of packaging down to this another bakery. Like I say, North London, not far from White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur's ground. Yeah, so that was pretty straightforward, really. Straight down the M1 and a bit across London, bit of traffic across London. I think it's the North Circular, possibly I was on, not 100% sure. And then from there, like, yeah, we're really busy in London. Went and parked in the Tesco around the corner, and I actually got a job pretty quick afterwards. It was about 4 miles from where I was. I was 10 minutes from it. It was a small van job going to Swindon. So I'm back in Swindon, where I am now, Sainsbury's car park. And it was one of the big, they don't really post a great deal of jobs on the CX, but they're one of the biggest like courier companies in the UK, very well known. Picked up from their depot, like North London, over, supposed to be delivering to a business here, but then they rang me on the way and said the business is shut, so you need to go please to our depot in Swindon, and it was a few miles shorter, so it actually worked out all right. It's only a small box, tiny little box, and when I got here there was no one in the depot, so I had to wait 10 minutes. I rang them, and then 10 minutes later the guy turned up, so that was all right. So that was that job. So I'm in Swindon now. Some fried rice, chicken fried rice tonight. Great diet on the run. Yeah, so 3 jobs today. I think about the 250 mark all in, but the pence per mile hasn't been great because I did 2 small van jobs, even though the one this morning was 70 pence a loaded mile, small van, and then this one this evening, that was about 78 pence loaded as well. But ideally I won't be doing small van jobs in this van, but you just got to go for whatever's available at the moment. And then the long wheelbase job I did do, like I say, I had too many miles getting there for it to be a good overall rate. But yeah, it was 97 divided by 105 would be in a pence per mile loaded. Yeah, but at least I've got over 200, which is not easy at the moment. Yeah, so that is so far Tuesday. Alright, Wednesday now, Wednesday afternoon, mid-afternoon-ish. Really slow start this morning. I just tramped on a private street in Swindon. Yeah, and there's a few jobs pinging up in Swindon this morning, but yeah, I didn't get a job until about 11:15. Been on a few this morning, no joy, but like I said, it was quite quiet what was pinging up. Eventually got this job pinged up Swindon, not far from where I was, maybe 5 miles from where I was. Swindon Ring Road, going up to Redditch where I am now. It didn't say e-quotes only, so I rang the guy. It said 72 miles, so I just said 70 quid. So it obviously sounds less than £1 a mile, but it's only marginally less. And he was like, yeah, happy with that. And I told him I was 15 minutes from it, which is true. And apparently what had happened was one of their lorry drivers had forgot to pick this package up, or this pallet. So it was like mega urgent. So he just give me the postcode and the name of the company. He says, start making your way and I'll put it on the system as soon as I can. only took 5 minutes to send it through, but get that sometimes. Yeah, picking up from some big, it was a big site. I'm not even sure what they do. Could have been packaging, could have been medical stuff actually. Up to a logistics company here in Redditch. So lovely drive up through Middle England, as I think of it, like the Cotswolds area. It's not an area generally get much chance to drive across. When I do, it's really nice. I think you got the M5 down the west, then you got the M40 and the M4 in the south, and the A34 that cuts across. That area bounded by that is really nice. Nice A roads through the Cotswolds and stuff. But yeah, it's quite a nice drive, really. Makes a change from the motorways. Yeah, so I'm here now. So I'm on like outskirts of, Birmingham area. So yeah, it's a few jobs come up so far. Not won anything yet. But I think I'm better off here than I would be like slap bang in the middle of Birmingham, to be honest. Because anything that comes out down here, Redditch, Alcester, Evesham, possibly Stratford-upon-Avon, probably got more chance of it here because I'll be closer. So fingers crossed and get something else. So only on 70 quid so far today. So yeah, needs to get a job, another job. Alright, Thursday night now, about 8 p.m. Yeah, I didn't get another job yesterday, so just one job yesterday, 70 quid. Can't remember what time I said I tipped there, but yeah, I sat there until just after 5. I was quite surprised how quiet it was. Jobs pinging up in the West Midlands, or like I was getting notifications for all of the West Midlands really, sat there. So like Tamworth and stuff, so Kidderminster, so quite a wide area. And I did bid on a few jobs, didn't get anything, so got to just after 5 and I thought I'd go home then, because I was 29 miles from home, 40-minute drive. So yeah, pootled home nice and slowly, didn't burn too much diesel. Got home, had a home cooked meal, shower, bit of time at home, quite nice. Yeah, so that was yesterday. This morning, started looking for jobs about 9:15. Usual story, struggling to get out of bed early when I'm at home. Make the most of being in my own bed. Yeah, and then I kind of messed up mid-morning, a bid on a job down Birmingham down to Basingstoke, long wheelbase job. And the shipper rang me. I somehow managed to fluff answering the call. And like hung up on him, and then when I rang the number back, it was a shipper, but then you get stuck in the automated thing, press this number for that and press the other number for something else, and then you can't get through to the shipper. So I missed out on that one, and then eventually I got another job, but not until 12:15. I wasn't bidding on too much local because I was kind of thinking I need to go reasonable distance on my first job, and then because if I do one short job or mid-length job, you end up burning like 50, 60, 70 quid off one job potentially. The job I went in for, it was 100 miles long wheelbase, so I went in at 100 quid. It was 100 miles on the nose. Only problem was it was 18 miles from home, about 30 minutes. Got the job. It was one of the pallet networks. I've done a pickup for them before from the depot. I think the lady on the phone can't remember my name. And I think I've got them out of the ship before, and I picked one up from a pallet I'd been sent to the wrong depot and took it. So maybe that's where she remembered me from, because I was a bit surprised to get it really, because I priced it at £1 a mile. It was picking up sort of Birmingham Airport, NEC way. There can be loads of people on there bidding closer than me. And cheaper, no doubt, but yeah, I got it. So whizzed over there, picked it up, down to Bristol. Really light. It was one pallet. God knows why it was put down for a long wheelbase job. One pallet, and it said on the notes weighs 15 kilograms. It's probably more like 40 kilograms. So obviously the pallet weighs something. The load what was on it must have been 15 kilograms, which is interesting. But yeah, I deliver just one pack of flooring, I think, like laminate flooring, one pack. crazy. Down to a flooring shop down here in Bristol, or between Bristol and Bath really it was, on the outskirts of Bristol. And I got there, the shop was shut, so I rang the shipper, the pallet company. They got back to me after 10 minutes and says, oh yeah, apparently the wrong address, you need to go to their warehouse, which is a mile down the road. Gave me the postcode and the guy's phone number, so I got in a rough area and gave this guy a ring. He told me where it was, and then he says, oh yeah, did he give you you need the key code to get in? So no one was there, so I had to open up this warehouse myself. I just had to strip the pallet down. There's only one pack of flooring, put it inside, and all the packaging in the pallet, left it with them there. Took some photos as a POD. Yeah, so got an extra tenner on the job for all that faffing around. So it was £110 for 101 miles say driven on the job, plus 18 to get there. That put me in Bristol late afternoon. Some jobs pinging up. Sadly didn't get any of the longer haul ones, but I did manage to get. I went in small van job, went in small van, minimum charge £25. It was 8 miles a job, and I was 7 miles from it, so 15 miles all in, £25, and it did take me an hour as well, including getting there, like all in from getting a job to tipping. Yeah, so that put me at 5:30, and there's a few jobs pinged up this evening, but didn't get them. So I'm on 110 for the first job and 25, 135 for the day. So yeah, 2 pretty rough days. So I've done like £200 in 2 days, whereas the previous 2 days I did over 400 for 2 days. Yeah, I've done half. Monday, Tuesday, I earned twice what I earned Wednesday, Thursday. That's the way it goes. It's always up and down, but with it being so quiet, yeah, just got to struggle on, really. Obviously, Boris has announced the roadmap. Bit disappointed, to be honest, but I'll go on to it more, mention that more in the summary at the end. Friday afternoon now, about 20 to 5 or something like that. Yeah, so tramped in Bristol last night. Got quite early. Had a bit of an annoying thing this morning. It's probably like 2 or 3 good jobs pinged up at about 7:30 in quick succession. And for some reason, I had like really bad reception on my phone, so occasionally get that. But I don't know what the hell was going on, because I was on like the outskirts of Bristol. So I just restarted the phone, and by the time I did, they'd sold. So yeah, eventually I got a job at 9:30 from Bristol, the other side of Bristol, over to High Wycombe, which is where I am now. 106 miles, and I went in at 97, which is, what might be a mile or something loaded. Obviously got the job, picked up from some warehouse. It said 3 pallets, and then the guy on the phone says, oh, it could be rolls of netting. I was like, all right, whatever. When I got there, it was neither. It was like a garden arch. So it was like a funny shaped long box that went up and then curled over at the top like an arch. I'm guessing there's 2 halves in there that would have bolted together. So yeah, that was a really easy to load and light load. Mostly M4 down to here. It's delivered to a chap at a private address. Yeah, so I tipped that just before 1. And I haven't had another job. Well, I did actually bid on one job and get offered it, which was a COVID sample to Aylesbury again, similar to the job I did last week, but a different pickup, I think. And it would have worked out 30 miles and £40, even though it was a small van job. And then they rang up, they said, oh, pickup's 2:45. And I didn't notice that. I thought it was pickup straight away, which is silly of me. So I just apologised and said, oh, sorry, I didn't see that, and declined the job, thinking, it's a small job anyway. I keep myself available for a better job, heading to the Midlands, hopefully, area. But yeah, with hindsight, I should have just done that job because I've got nothing else. So £97. Day's almost done. I'm going to wait till 5 if nothing doing, and I'm going to jump back on the M40. on the M40. So I'm sat in Waitrose car park now, right next to it. And then head home. So yeah, three rough days. So 2 reasonable days to start a week, and then 3 rough days. But obviously I'll go through that in the summary. The only positive at the moment is the weather. Just generally, I wouldn't say spring's in the air, but it definitely feels like it's on the way, which is quite nice. Real nice day today. Yeah, and just down here I've set my home area as back in the West Midlands and notifications on for my home area. So I get notifications for Monday as they come through, and try and get a job booked for Monday, which I haven't done yet, as yet. So I'm getting notifications now for the West Midlands today and into the future. And I'm getting notifications for my radius around High Wycombe, which is taken in North and West London and big chunk of London. And it's just so quiet, the feed for a Friday afternoon. You know, Friday's the busy day. I did do my little job search once this week on a Wednesday when I was back home in the evening, and it was like 50 to 60% of what it was early December. So it's been pretty flat. I think demand through this lockdown in this new year still hasn't picked up, hasn't gone down, but it just seems ridiculously slow today, this afternoon especially. There you go. That's not a lot I can do really. You just have to plod on. Looking forward to just getting home and having a weekend off. Late Sunday afternoon now, so all filmed in the van this week. No particularly interesting places to film, sadly. Some reasonable nice drives though. I think I mentioned quite like the Rutland area, and also cutting through Middle England. That was quite nice, through the Cotswolds. Yeah, so I didn't do anything else on the Friday. I just came home empty from High Wycombe, just over 100 miles, which isn't ideal, but perhaps not surprising. Yeah, so pretty poor week again. Pretty much did the same as I did last week in terms of total takings, but I did more miles. So anyway, as ever, these are just what I quoted on the CX, so that would have gone on top, and these are my income, not my income, my takings. So my earnings would have been obviously minus all my costs, and then that would be taxable. Being a sole trader, so Monday 2 jobs, 93 and 85 for 178. Tuesday actually got 3 jobs in, best day of the week, 78, 97 and 78. That comes to 253. Wednesday just a 1 job, 70 quid. So yeah, I came home on a Wednesday because that was to work Redditch, and then I spent the other nights in the van. It's either in the van or at home this week. 1 day at home. Thursday 2 jobs, 110 and 25 for 135. And then, like I say, Friday was just that 1 job, Bristol to High Wycombe for 97, which comes to a total for the week of 733, which is £146.60 a day. So it's 40 pence a day less than last week, but I did about an extra 150 miles this week, so I did 1,006 miles. So that was all miles as ever. That is all miles loaded and unloaded, including coming to and from here home. Between leaving on a Monday and getting back on a Friday, works out at 72.8 pence a mile, which isn't obviously enough for this size of van. But given how things are, and I've done a fair few small van jobs just because it's hard out there. So that was my week. So yeah, that was the end of my normal week. So that's what I based my figures on. But I did actually do a job yesterday, Saturday. It's quite an interesting job. So it was my Saturday on my weekend where I should have had my kids, my 2 sons. So I've just been going to see them in North Wales and taking them out for the day during this lockdown and stuff, because I'm still allowed to do that because I'm a whole separate sort of parents thing. Yeah, and when I was back in North Wales, a job pinged up, kept getting reposted because I was logged in seeing if I could book a job in for Monday. A job pinged up in North Wales and it kept getting reposted. And first of all, it said got to be there by 5. I thought, well, I can't do that because that's when I'm dropping my 2 sons at their mum's. And then it was reposted, got to be there by 6, and I thought, well, I can do that because it's like a 50-minute drive, 50 minutes from the home with their mum to where the pickup was in Holyhead. So I kind of watched it, and I think they went fishing for me because they actually changed the job to the town I was actually in at the time, which is a place called Llanrwstyn on the North Wales coast, where I grew up, going to the same location. So I was on it, but my status was probably greyed out. I'd just let it lapse, so maybe they couldn't. I don't know why they didn't ring me rather than just go fishing like that. So that was quite interesting. I thought, well, I must be desperate to get it off, get it done. I looked on who's around me. There was one guy in Holyhead, and then he disappeared. So he might have got on a ferry and got off to Ireland, quite possibly, if he sat in Holyhead. And then I was the closest to it, because there's very few people along that North Wales coast, the A55. And the next nearest guys were sort of down towards Rhyl. I thought, well, if they're desperate to get it off. So what I did, I dropped my sons off, and then I rang them. But I had to work out my price first. So I was going to be driving home from that area to the West Midlands anyway. And this job basically went through the town where I was, dropped the lads off, going past my home through to Cambridgeshire, Saffron Walden CB10. So what I didn't include that miles I would have done anyway, but I included, it was 45 miles to Holyhead from where I was after dropping the boys off. So there and back, I thought that's an extra 90 miles on my day. And then I worked out how many miles it was from home, location in the West Midlands, to Saffron Walden, which is 120 miles, and back was 240. So 240 miles plus 90 miles, adding the extra bits on my day, comes to 330. I thought, well, I'm in a long wheelbase van, and it's Saturday, and this job, if I take it, it's going to be, probably won't be tipping it until midnight. So I phoned them up and I told them the situation. I said I wasn't planning on working today, but I'm kind of in the area, but I'm in a long wheelbase van, and I can do it. But obviously I said to him, not going to get anything after, nor am I going to look for anything at midnight. So I want 330 quid for it. It was a small van job. It said one package, 1 kilogram, small van job, 280 miles loaded. I said, yeah, I can do it for 330. And he's quite interesting. It's one of the big nationals it was with. Quite interesting. It was Aberdeen branch posting it, which quite often happens to them. Like, why is Aberdeen sorting a pickup in North Wales and dropping off in Cambridge? But yeah, it's weird like that. And he said that's more. To be honest, he said to me that's more than a quote with the customer. So he says, let me call them and I'll get back to you straight away. And I says, okay, just let me know straight away either way, because I'm planning on heading out the area. And yeah, he rang back in 2 minutes after and says, yeah, the job's on, job's yours. So that was it. Scooted over to Holyhead, turned out picking up a COVID sample, but I think it was a private one, not a government one. And it said Holyhead ferry terminal / train station. So I went to the train station. I was faffing around. The instructions were terrible, really, and in the end I had to phone the shipper, and I had to go through security and meet a guy who was working, or some medical guy who was working on a ship that was moored there in a berth 2. Quite interesting, because I used to work in Holyhead for about 2.5 years in an aluminium smelter there, Anglesey Aluminium, before it shut in 2009, and we used to have a wharf down, like a jetty wharf down the port. So yeah, kind of a bit down memory lane going back in there. So the raw materials used to come in for the aluminium. Yeah, so that was quite interesting. Eventually got it, drove straight through, well, via the chippy and then the fuel station. Didn't get it tipped until just gone midnight. And then it should have been just under 2 hours to drive back home, but with roadworks, night closures, It's more like 2.5 hours, so I got home at 2:30. But extra 330 quid for a week off an extra, well, yeah, 330 extra miles I ended up driving, but that was including getting to the pickup and then getting home from the drop off. So that kind of boosted my day up, got me over the grand for the week. Probably wouldn't have done that in normal times if I'd done good money for the week, or if I did do it, I might have said to myself, right, I've earned decent money on the Saturday night, I'll have Monday off. But the way things are, I'll be back on the run tomorrow. So that was my week. Summary, a couple of things. First of all, insurance. Thanks for everyone's recommendations. I tried Admiral. Yeah, they were really expensive still, even with my 1 year's no claims. For me personally, obviously everyone was different. I found a few others, and one said they could match the price I've been given for my renewal, but I'd have to get a black box fitted, so yeah, not really that keen on that. So I've ended up renewing with the company I'm with, but they're being a bit sneaky really, because the actual insurance premium had come down, and I had 3 add-ons before. I'm only getting 1 this time, so that was just a legal cover. So I'd like taken 140 quid's worth of extra cover off, and their broker fee, which was 400 quid last time, which sounds like a lot, but I think it's pretty common, had gone up to just over 450. And I says, well, I'm getting less stuff off you this time, don't see why it should go up. So if you do keep it the same as last time, I'll pay now. And then he says, yeah, that's so fine. So yeah, I got an extra just over 50 quid off, so it was like 2,250 for motor insurance, full multi-drop and stuff with legal cover. But I did ask him, because I remember last time when I took it out, I had limited cover in Europe, like limited days. Obviously Europe, EU includes Republic of Ireland. It's kind of like thinking this year, especially when things pick up, I won't mind trying to get over there, just for the adventure really. But so I asked him about that to clarify what was included in my insurance, and he says, oh yeah, the policy's actually changed end of last year, so when you renew you won't have that anymore. And like, surely they should mention that, because I'm getting less cover, but I hadn't have brought it up. But anyway, I just went and got it done, signed up with them. So that's insurance. The other thing to mention briefly in the vlog, Boris set out his roadmap earlier in the week. It is what it is, and I can see what they're doing, but it's very conservative. They obviously want to get infection rates like really, really low, and then stay on top of it with test and trace and stuff, which I can understand. But I was kind of hoping non-essential retail was going to open like early, like 8th of March or maybe mid-March, but it's not. It's 12th of April, I think, and then the pubs aren't opening until then, and they can only open, I think it's hospitality rather than pubs. Obviously pubs is part of that. They can only open outside from the 12th, and then it's like May until the pubs can open. So I don't think all the beer jobs are going to come back on for a while. Yeah, so it's just taking a bit longer. So really the 8th is Sunday now, Monday tomorrow, and then it's a week to the 8th when the kids go back to school, and some changes with visiting people in care homes. That's not going to affect the economy too much and how much work's available, I don't think. So yeah, it's just taking a bit too long really, for me, than I'd hoped. So it is what it is, and obviously it's more important things at the moment. But yeah, a bit disappointed about that, to be honest, but at least the weather's picking up this week. Been really nice today. Hope everyone's well. Thanks for watching this long. It has been a slightly shorter vlog this week, so I tried to keep it quiet, shorter. That's it. Yeah, any comments as ever for myself or anyone else's benefit, please add them below. Thanks for watching. Cheers.